Average Woodsman here, back with another video. So today I'm going to do a demonstration of how to use a flint and steel. Now, what I've noticed online a lot is people tend to confuse flint and steel with a ferro rod or a ferrocerium rod. A ferrocerium rod and a flint and steel are not the same thing. A ferro rod is a paraphoric material that you strike with a hard surface, like a 90-degree surface, a hard, sharp surface to remove molting material. That's not the same thing as a flint and steel. So flint and steel is different. Flint is actually a hard mineral that you use to strike a piece of high carbon steel. And you'll strike the high carbon steel with the flint or quartz or chert, and it will actually remove small pieces from that high carbon steel. So this right here is my flint and steel kit that I keep in my bag sometimes. So this is a hard mineral that you'll use to strike something like this, and this is just the SE. So this one's, the reason why I carry this one is because it's more multifunctional. It has a nice sharp spine so you could strike a ferro rod. It has a bow drill divot. I actually did a review on this one a while back. This one actually has a bow drill divot, so you can use it for friction fire. And it also is made out of high carbon steel and it's non-coated, so it will actually strike. When you strike it, it'll actually remove material. So here I have my tender bundle, I have my flint and steel kit, and I have my char with some charred punk wood. Now, you're going to want to have some sort of charred material. That's the best way to do this. I have just some leftover punk wood. It's actually, this thing needs to be replenished, but I have some charred punk wood that'll work really well. So, got myself some bald cypress bark. I shaved some down with the spine of my knife to get some nice, really processed down materials, and then I'm just gonna start processing this down until we can get those nice fibers, break this down into nice fibers to get us a good tender bundle. That's why it's a lot of work sometimes to use natural materials, especially if it's been raining. It's been raining a lot lately, the last few days. I've been getting hard rains, a lot of heavy storms, and that's why it's good to carry with you man-made material, man-made tenders. Just makes it that much easier to get a fire like this started because you're already going to have dry tender. Thankfully, this cypress bark is literally one of the best natural tenders that we have in my area. It's just excellent, but it's a lot of work to process down, and a lot of guys up north, this will kind of remind you of a poplar bark. It's kind of similar to poplar bark or cedar bark. It just works really well for tender bundle. So I'm going to go ahead and process this down. Alright guys, that's kind of it. You know, the flint and steel is basically, ever since the age of iron, was used to light fires. Up until the friction match was invented, that's basically how people, you know, started fires. They would strike a piece of flint against a piece of carbon steel and it would shave off, you know, individual specks from that. It's not always the easiest method, it's not always the most practical method, but it is something that I think every outdoorsman, every woodsman should know. You should know how to use a flint and steel. You should know how to use a ferro rod. You should know friction fire. You should know all these things, even though, you know, generally speaking, most of us are just going to light fires with a lighter, with our Bic lighter, or with some matches. Also, I think it's kind of a cool way to relive or harken back to the days of our ancestors, where they didn't have modern tools to use. They had to use a piece of flint and a piece of carbon steel to light a fire when they were on the trail. They didn't have a ferro rod, or they didn't have lighters, they didn't have matches, they didn't have those modern conveniences. So I think it's just a cool skill to learn, a cool skill to know, and a cool skill to master. Remember to like, subscribe, share these videos with your friends and family. Be safe, stay dangerous, and I'll catch you on the next one.